Posen was ordered under the name Baden, again replacing an ironclad of the same name. She was laid down on June 11, 1907 at the Germaniawerft. Whew. This is getting harder. Germaniawerft shipyard in Kiel, and was, you guessed it, constructed in secrecy. She was launched on December 12, 1908, and was christened by Johanna von Radelin, the wife of Fürst von Radelin, a diplomat who hailed from the ship's namesake province. And again, I apologize to all of my German viewers. Initial trials and fitting out took place throughout May 1910, and she was commissioned into the fleet at the end of May. She conducted more sea trials afterwards and was fully battle-ready by August 27th. She arrived in Wilhelmshaven on September 7th and immediately lost most of her crew, eventually being recrewed by the crew of the decommissioned pre-dreadnought Wittelsbach. Like her sister, she was part of the 1st Battle Squadron, serving as its flagship. She went through pretty much all the same training cruises as her sisters until 1914, when war were declared. From here, it's pretty much once more same as before. She took part in the bombardments of Scarborough, Hartlepool, and Whitby, the Battle of the Gulf of Riga, etc., etc., etc. On March 16, 1916, she and the rest of her sisters in the battle cruiser Von der Tann met the auxiliary cruiser Mova. She went on to take part in the attacks on Yarmouth and Lowestoft, and took part in the Battle of Jutland, engaging the 2nd Light Cruiser Squadron. She fired at the destroyers Nomad and Nestor with both her main guns and her secondary battery, and at 18:35 hours, Nestor exploded, having taken the combined firepower of no less than 8 battleships. At 21:20 hours, she and her sisters engaged the 3rd Battlecruiser Squadron, and she opened fire on the HMS Princess Royal and HMS Indomitable at 21:28 hours at a range of 11,000 yards. She hit Princess Royal at 21:32 hours and straddled Indomitable several times. She ceased fire at 21:35 hours. At 00:30 hours, the leading units engaged British cruisers and destroyers in a violent close-range knife fight, and in the confusion, the light cruiser Elbing passed through German lines and directly in front of Posen, where she was then rammed by the battleship. Posen was undamaged, but Elbing's engine rooms were flooded and she ground to a halt. She was scuttled 2.5 hours later. Shortly before 0100 hours, she engaged the destroyers Fortune, Porpoise, and Garland at close range, between 870 and 1750 yards, along with several other battleships, sinking the Fortune and damaging Porpoise. Torpedoes from the doomed Fortune, though, forced her to maneuver. At 0125 hours, Westphalen fired on the destroyer Ardent, and Posen jumped in because hey, free XP, and reported several hits at ranges of 1100 to 1300 yards. Posen fired 53 main battery rounds and 64 secondary battery rounds, along with 32 88mm rounds, and emerged from the battle completely unscathed. She, too, took part in the expedition to Finland in February 1918 and pretty much had an uneventful mission. She assisted in the efforts to refloat Rhineland, and on April 22nd, I believe, she struck a sunken wreck in Helsingfors Harbor, which caused her minor damage. She was detached from the Sonderbernad Osti, however you say that, special unit in the Baltic Sea, and headed for Kiel for repairs. She was part of the task force that sortied on August 11, 1918, to aid in the patrols off Terschelling. She then moved into the outer roadsteads of the Jade Estuary to provide cover for returning U-boats of the Flanders Flotilla. She would have taken part in the Battle of the Texel, but the operation was cancelled. After the armistice and the scuttling of the High Seas Fleet in Scapa Flow, she was handed over to the British, and on November 1, 1920, she was driven ashore at Hawkcraig Fife in Scotland. She was sold to shipbreakers in the Netherlands for scrap, and was broken up in Dordrecht. So before getting into my opinion, although it's probably fairly obvious by now, let's do a quick recap. We have sinking in harbor immediately after completion, failing to sink the one ship that you were designed to defeat while you severely outnumber them. I'm sorry, that one makes me laugh. Having most of your armor pulled off, running aground and requiring more than a third of your displacement to be removed, ramming and sinking your own cruiser, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, that went well for them. That did. I don't see anything wrong with that if you don't. So, needless to say, not a particularly auspicious set of careers. Alright, on to the opinion section. With the caveat that, yes, these ships were not designed to be dreadnoughts from the initial design phase. They were shoehorned into that role, and they're not particularly good at it, and I don't much care for the design. Aesthetically, it's a good-looking ship. Actually, it's probably the best-looking World War I, second best World War I German battleship. The Bayern class is the best-looking, followed by this. I mean, I don't think Helgoland looks particularly good. The Kaisers and none of those are just good-looking to me. aesthetically, Nassau is very, very pleasing. From a design standpoint, kind of a mixed bag. Depends on what metrics you're comparing it to. If you're comparing it to the ships that it was initially designed to defeat, it's pretty good. But had it been built to defeat those ships, it would have looked different. When you compare it to the ship that it actually ended up countering, the Dreadnought, Bellerophons, and St. Vincent's, not so much. And I don't think that's any, I don't think that's any commentary on the intelligence of the designers. It's just a combination of not an ideal design, which, to be fair, HMS Dreadnought is not a particularly ideal design either. But it's a combination of not an ideal design, a little bit too much government interference, an unwillingness / inability, depending on what side of the argument you take, to adopt a superior technology, even when it's fairly obvious that it's superior, and what your opponent's doing. And sheer bad luck, at least for the most of the ships. This is one of those ship classes that it seems like the good and bad luck is pretty well distributed. Most times with German ships, one ship sucks all the good luck out of the rest of the class. So this is one of those where I guess it's fairly widespread. But yeah, don't much care for them. They're not great designs. I mean, there's so many ships that are better than Nassau. I sound a lot more angry in these videos than I probably should, because it really isn't like the designers intentionally made it bad, but it's just by circumstances that it was in, it just turned out to just not be good. Some of the problems, though, there are no excuse for, like only being able to reload when you're at a flat trajectory. There is no excuse for that, even on a pre-Dreadnought. So things like that are a big issue. But as far as, like, it not being a particularly good counter for HMS Dreadnought, well, it wasn't supposed to be. So depending on which problem you look at, depends on how angry I get. But it's just not a very good ship, in my opinion. The Germans would build so much better. And the British would, by far and away, take the cake on good battleship designs. And HMS Dreadnought is a good example of even a not particularly ideal design can be made to work if you fix all the other problems, and your only issue is the design isn't the most efficient thing. So I don't know. It's the severity of my disdain for this ship varies from day to day, but I've never really liked it. It's not bad in World of Warships, though, if you're going to play World of Warships. And no, I'm not sponsored by World of Warships, so don't expect a sponsorship plug. I just wanted to put that out there. It's not horrible in World of Warships. It's actually quite good. The idea of having an extra set of guns on one side if you get outflanked actually is appropriate in World of Warships, where it's not so much appropriate in actual lines of battle. So, hey, there's something. Its design's great for a video game that was developed like almost 100 years later. It's fine. I'm sure that was their plan from the beginning. Anyway, that's enough about that. I've just spent the better part of probably 2 hours talking about this ship when you combine the two videos. So, I'm going to leave you there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments about this ship. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you kind of in the middle? Do you not care? Let me know. And anyway, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Wattpad. What else am I on? Pinterest, DeviantArt, I don't know. All that stuff. Anyway, check me out on all the places that I probably have forgotten some of them. I don't even know. But check me out on them. Don't do anything stupid. We're, as of the time of recording this, still in the middle of a pandemic. Don't do anything dumb. Wear a mask. Stay home if you can. Watch my videos at home. Don't do that. There's not enough of them, nor are they that good. Stay and watch someone's videos. Not necessarily mine. But yeah, don't do anything dumb. I think that's it. All right, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.